What is up, guys? Kyle Smith, Arizona drummer here, and welcome to Behind the Kit, episode 4. I am so stoked for this one. We are inviting Grammy Award winner CJ Knowles to the channel today. I'm so excited for you guys to get to hear his story. And for those of you who don't know him, you might catch him on social media. You might see him on YouTube, see him live. He's also a really well-known producer, a Grammy Award-winning drummer. He puts out some of the coolest live arrangements out on YouTube anywhere. So without further ado, you guys, let's jump right into the interview with Mr. CJ Knowles. Here we go. Hey there, everybody. This is Kyle Smith, Arizona drummer here, and I am joined with CJ Knowles. He is a Grammy-winning drummer who's performed with acts like Joanna Connor, Lizzo, and Round 2 crew, He's known for his expressive playing, relentless hustle, and roots in the Chicago music scene. Today we're going to go deep into his journey, his craft, and everything behind the kit. CJ, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Man, nice to be on, man.
Good. I'm more happy you're here. I got a couple questions just to kick us off. How are you doing? How's life been for you?
Man, it's been a journey, but also amazing at the same time. You know, honestly, to see the world is just pretty freaking cool. Pretty cool, man. So yeah, it's really good. Life's good.
That's great. So for anybody who's just discovering you, either through this podcast or through YouTube, who is CJ Knowles in your own words? How would you describe yourself?
CJ Knowles is this laid-back guy that loves music, loves it a lot. And I appreciate it and, enjoy music very much so.
Absolutely. So I'm going to dive in a little bit into your roots and your rise into our industry and kind of your background with the instrument. And, I'm going to start with just what was your life like growing up on the south side of Chicago, and how did music kind of first come into your life?
Man, these are good questions. Life in Chicago, it could be challenging, because you're surrounded by so much. You're surrounded by so much, and you got to figure out a way to get out of that mentality, And so for me, it was music.
Yeah.
For me, drumming was my escape, and I didn't know that I was going to take it very seriously until my father had passed, and
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and he was a great drummer, and kind of just wanted to continue the legacy and just continue to do it. And I just figured I want to see the world. I want to do something that I love, and I want to see the world while doing it,
Yeah, absolutely. So did your dad kind of get you into drums? Is he kind of what made you interested?
Oh, so that is crazy, actually, because I call him my dad, but he's my stepdad. Before he came into my life, I was already banging on pots and pans and stuff, and so that kind of happened. And before I was able to walk, I had got my first drum set from my grandma and my brother, and I was always playing it, And so that kind of is how I started my career, and I just continued it.
Do you mind if I ask what your stepfather's name was?
His name was James Knowles.
So James Knowles, so my mom passed a few years ago. She's the reason I play drums, just because same thing, she saw me tapping on stuff. The music kind of ran in our family, and so she was like, hey, you should try drums, and that's what got me into it, and I've been doing it now almost 30 years. But I'm a big fan of when people that we love and are close to us pass, we say their name and their remembrance, and so thank you for sharing that with me. And I'm sure he's extremely proud of everything that you've accomplished. So thank you. Now I promise I'll get off the heavy. We'll go into some other stuff. But was drums always your first instrument, or did you experiment with anything else first? Like I was on guitar first, realized it was not for me, and then I went to drums.
Yeah, man. So yeah, drums has always been my first instrument, and then I got into this jazz class. And before jazz class, I had this music program at Wendell Phillips High School, and I got forced to play trombone. It's crazy as that. I got forced to play trombone. I hated it, and I think that kind of trained my ear. But I'll get to that in a second. And then
Yeah.
after trombone, I got forced to play the xylophone in jazz class. I hated that too.
Yep.
I hated it. But the perks of that was me learning how to read music and kind of training my ear to hear notes, the right notes
Yeah.
and how to play the right notes. So I think that was very beneficial in the long
Yeah.
run.
And I think to your point, like you can hear it in the music that you compose, that you have a broader understanding of music and how it's created and how notes interact with each other. It's not just playing drums, like you can hear the composition in the stuff that you're playing. So I think that comes through in the music. When I messaged you to do this interview, the first thing you said was, it's about time, people heard my story. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you two more questions. I'm going to give you a chance to kind of share your story. Do you remember your first gig? You mentioned you got your first kit before you could walk. Do you remember your first gig?
Oh man, yeah. So I played with this. He's a Grammy Award winner. As also, his name is Sugar Blue. Um, my very first gig, and I got thrown into the fire. I got thrown into the fire because the gig was so fast paced, and I was 15 at the time. I'm playing in nightclubs and stuff, so that kind of trained me to like be prepared to be thrown in the fire now.
Yeah.
So like that gig I appreciate because it was very fast paced and it was a blues gig. So I was on the blues scene for quite some time too. So
Nice. Were you playing click, or was it without click, just kind of feeling it?
without click,
Yeah.
without click.
That's even scarier sometimes because that safety net's gone.
Yeah.
What are some things you learned of just, you're 15 years old, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get this right, I got to play along. What are some things that you learned, or maybe things that didn't go so well?
The things that I learned was never to do too much, because that became a thing too where I could be just doing a lot on drums and not conversating with the actual musicians that's on stage. And that within itself was kind of a thing. And then my timing was also a big thing too at that time.
Yeah.
And so like keeping straight timing without a click is the most challenging thing ever. Challenging, bro.
Yeah, especially when the adrenaline kicks in, you're like, yes, like this crowd's awesome, and you're feeling it, and it's just, now you're going twice as fast as you're supposed to go.
Playing the shuffle is
Oh,
very
yeah.
hard. It's very hard. And so I had to learn how to control my left hand also. So that also played a huge part in my career.
You mentioned you had to work on your left hand, and I think a common theme through all these interviews that I really want drummers to take away from this is that if you want to get good at this instrument, you want to do this professionally, you want this to be your job, you have to do the work. You can't, there's no shortcuts, there's no skipping it, you just have to fine-tune your craft. Was there a mentor or a moment early on, kind of when you were just getting started, that really pushed you to say, hey, you should do this professionally?
Yeah, my dad was definitely one of them before he passed. And my older brother happened.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was going through a certain situation where I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know if I wanted to go to school because my mama wanted me to go, or just pursue this career because I love to do it. And then my brother was just like, follow your heart, figure out what you want to do, and not what somebody else wants you to do. And so that kind of pushed me to just do this. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go for it and just have faith.
That's awesome. Gosh, my sisters were like, you're gonna go practice again? Oh, like, but like, that's awesome that your brother was there to push you and say, hey, like, you have a real shot at this, this is something you love and you're passionate about, you should go after it. And what's his name?
His name is Desmond.
Desmond, thank you, Desmond, because you helped push him into the right direction. So I have a whole list of questions here. We'll get to them, but I think what really intrigued me is I reached out to you and I said, hey, do you want to do this? And you're like, yeah, it's time the world heard my story. So I'm curious, in your words, what is your story?
Man, like, I'm here to share, I guess, with the community that it's a journey to get here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it very much so has its ups and downs, and it has its mostly downs because you'll feel like you're not doing enough, but you can't quit. You cannot quit because I can tell you now. I almost found myself quitting. I almost found myself just giving up, and people just kept pushing me, and the support that's just kept pushing me was like, just keep going, and
Hmm.
I really thank people for just really just kept pushing me, you know. And yeah, growing up in Chicago is just it's insane itself. It's insane itself, and you're around a lot of rough stuff here, and you don't
Yeah.
want to be in these crowds. You want to get out of this city. You know what I'm saying? Because we all like a crab in a barrel trying to crawl out.
Hmm.
And so I think that was like very much so challenging. Like, what can I do in this little old basement that can get me out this city, you know? And so I figured it out, and I'm just thankful, you know.
So that, I mean, that brings us to the Grammy. What was your first big break, and what was like that one that just made things real? And then we're gonna get to the Grammy right after.
So my first big show that just made me realize, like, okay, I need to do this because this is great. It's fun. Um, I did a blues fest. I did the blues fest when I was like 15, 16, in front of like 30,000 people. And it was here in Chicago because they do blues fest here.
Hmm.
And I was playing with this artist named Theo Huff. And I had people shocked because they thought I was a grown man on drums, you know, and that kind of like opened up a lot of people's eyes where you had the next band try to challenge us, but I ain't know no better because, you know, I'm a kid, just love music. Once my name started circulating and stuff like that, and then I started getting more calls, that's why I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is where I really want to take.
So now we can talk about Grammy. So first, let's just talk about, for those who aren't aware, what was that project? How did it come together? And then I think the second part of that is like, where were you when you found out that you won? And like, how did you react? Were you just bouncing off the walls?
Oh my God. Oh man. So the project that we was a part of that got the Grammy was I was a part of this group last year called Tank and the Bankers. And she ended up winning a Grammy, well, Grammy nominated and getting the Grammy for the project for Best Poetry Album. And two of the songs that I was happened to be on, I was on a song with Robert Glasper, and one of them was Robert Glasper and uh Samara Joy. Samara Joy. And
Yeah.
with me being on them two projects, or well, them two songs, um, and the Grammy got Grammy nominated, it first off, I was in New York doing a show at the Blue Note. We got word that we had got Grammy nominated, and it just threw me. It threw me for a loop. Hold on, I just joined the group. It's only been a couple months. Like, that's crazy. And so yeah, found that out in the hotel room. I want to say the Grammys was like in February.
Hmm.
And so I'm at home, you know, I'm just minding my business. I'm really not even watching the Grammys, not even really thinking about the Grammy at the time. I'm just in my basement, just practicing the stuff. And then I'm just getting a lot of tags on my Instagram page, like, congratulations. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I know I'm Grammy nominated, but what are y'all talking about? And then somebody shared the videos like, y'all won a Grammy. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, jeez.
Whoa. And so yeah, that experience within itself is kind of crazy. Um, I definitely didn't expect it. Very much so thankful that it happened. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I can get more down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll link the project down below too, so people can go check it out and hear, the music. But like, I can only imagine, sitting in your house having dinner, and then you just get your phone is just blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. Like,
Man,
gosh, and how did you feel
I
about?
was like, I couldn't react. I was overwhelmed with the messages. I was like, whoa, it's so many people. Hold on now, like, but it's a great feeling to know that I have that at such a young age too. I think I'm like 26, so I'm about to be 27 this month. So
Hey, don't rub it in, man.
man,
I'm just kidding.
nah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. How would you describe your playing style, and what kind of sets it apart from other drummers in our industry?
I like pocket a lot. You know, as much as people see me open up, I I like to lay back, and I like playing parts too. I love playing
Mm-hmm.
parts, and that within itself is like I want to be like almost verbatim like the track, but in my own way. So that I feel like that kind of separates me from people in this own like I don't know, like it's kind of weird because I'll be trying to figure it out myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out my own sound too. And yeah, man, like I just really love pocket. I don't know, I
Yeah.
like flipping, I like grooves, like I love pocket. And when I get on these gigs that allows me to open up, they be like, open up, open up. And I'm like, you sure? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do too much. They be like, open up. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Speaking of, obviously pocket requires so much in feel and time and groove. Then also the other side of things where you're shedding, not only do you have to kind of have the chops and the technique in place, but knowing where one is and coming back in on times, with that kind of two really different worlds. What is your practice routine like these days?
Man, at one point in time, I do it now. I still do it now. It's kind of crazy because it's kind of like a drill. I drill myself, and so
Mm-hmm.
like I wake up early, probably like around 10 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Probably do a little workout, warm up first. It's always good to warm up your hands because you don't
Yeah.
want to just rush into it, and kind of loosen up your wrists, your fingers, and after all of that, then I start playing music that I usually practice to, but I usually practice from 10 probably almost to 4 p.m.
Jeez. Back to, you got to do the work. Like, you're in there for 6 hours a day, just grinding it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can. Is that every day or?
every day. It's been like that for the past since I was 15.
Yeah, only breaks you get are when you have a show.
Yeah. But sometimes it's good to take a week off maybe, and
Yeah.
that's if my nerves ain't itching bad because I'll be like, oh my God, I got an itch. I gotta play some drums. And so I come down here for maybe probably like an hour or two. But
Mm-hmm.
usually I try not to overdo it now that I'm
Yeah.
older. So yeah, that's kind of like my practice routine. But if you're asking me, like, I want to say for people that want to practice that's about as long, I say do like 3 to 4 hours.
And are you doing like rudiments, playing a lot of songs, speed? Like, what are some of the things that you're doing when you're practicing?
Playing with a metronome is one. Like
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
being one with a metronome, and that's because when I don't have it, I still want to be just as locked
Mm-hmm.
with the metronome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my head, and
Yeah.
that's a thing for me too. And also, practicing rudiments. Rudiments
Mm-hmm.
is key. You know what I'm saying? It loosens up your hands, it loosens up what you want to do, and then alternating rudiments with your right from left. And that
Yeah.
helps as well. You know what I'm saying? You want a perfect balance.
I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ray Luzier who says, we want to be playing this thing for a long time, so let's do it smart. Let's not give ourselves tendonitis and pull muscles and all that other stuff. Like, we got to make sure we're using proper technique. And so, to your point, you can learn technique all you want, but unless you're in there practicing it and getting it to a point where it's second nature, like, you can hurt yourself. And you're the second person we've met with on the channel who's talked about practicing slow everything down, make sure that you've got it tight, you've got the technique in place, you can play the actual thing you're trying to do, and then you can slowly speed it up to whatever the final tempo is. And that's such an important thing. Do you think that groove is something that you're born with, or something that you can learn over time?
I think both. I think it could be both. Because you know, some drummers are born to play drums, and then you have some that want to learn, but learn over time. You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, I think so too. And Steve Smith from Journey was a good example where there was an interview, I can't remember what he said, but he's like, I'm not naturally good at the drums. Like, I wasn't gifted. I wasn't talented. I had to really work really hard to get good at the drums. And obviously he's an incredible drummer now, but to your point, like, whether you're born with it, it's natural, you sit down behind the kit, you got the feel, or you work at it, you can get there so long as, again, you put in the work. What is your most memorable tour? Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind, whether it's for all the good that came from it or maybe not the good that came from it?
Tour. Oh my God. Yeah, Tank and the Bangers was definitely a memorable tour. My first tour with them. Um, I remember getting the show, right? And I remember auditioning for the band and stuff. And she was like, "Why is he playing so straight?" You know what I'm saying? Why is he? You know what I'm saying? Because at the time I'm playing to the actual records, and so you know, she had told the bass player, "Yo, send him these and have him play to these." And so I'm Oasis the shows, and I put my own drums to it. End up getting on the tour, and it was memorable because like the crowd energy was great. You know what I'm saying? The people on stage had good chemistry, and then we was building the chemistry too. Cause I'm
Yeah.
coming in fresh, new, nervous, and you know, playing with a big artist too. Like that was new to me too. So everything was just kind of new, and I'm still learning it as I'm growing. You know, and
Of
so
course.
yeah, just being on tour with them, going overseas with them, you know what I'm saying, doing all these big festivals and big shows was very memorable, you know what I'm saying? And I'll always be thankful.
So what was that audition process like?
True, just sending in videos, just made sure that I had to learn the record, but the show
Yeah.
record was different from the actual record. And that's what she wanted to hear more so than anything, you know. So
Yeah. Kind of that big energy, the live kind of feel.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the pop gigs too will kind of, again, they'll take the song and then add, you know, guitars or big key sections, or you know, they'll kind of adjust the arrangement so it feels bigger live. So I can imagine that was, especially learning the record first and then having to learn this other version of it. Like, part of me thinks that was probably really fun, but then there was probably also another part of like, well, I got to relearn all of this stuff I just kind of like locked in on.
yeah, very much so. I had to relearn. I remember we had a gig with this orchestra, and mind you, I'm listening to the albums, but the album versions are different from the orchestra versions, and so
Yeah.
that was kind of like, oh my God, like I was freaking out, and I ended up learning it within like a 2 day span. So you know, it's pretty cool.
So it's funny that you mentioned that. This isn't one of my questions, but I have to ask it. What is your process for learning songs when you don't have a lot of time? You know, you've just got to get it done.
Oh man, because my process might be different from a lot of people's. When I'm just like at home or just don't got a drum set near me, so let's just say the rehearsal is out of town and I'm staying in the hotel, like I just drill the music in my headphones and just keep repeating it over and over, over and over. And then all the kinks and stuff, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get out in rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure the MD gonna be like, you know, do this right here, do this right here, or they might do something different from what I heard. You know, so that's my way of doing it. So just always drilling the music back to back to back until you
Absolutely.
feel like you got it.
And do you ever make your own like little charts for the songs?
No, it just be all from memory.
Damn, that's impressive, man. A lot of times, now when I'm doing my YouTube stuff, it's kind of the same thing because there's no gig. There's, you know, I learn the song, I come in here, I play it like it is what it is. But whenever I'm doing the live stuff, I'll chart it out, make sure I understand it, then I play along and play along and play along. But that's awesome that you just can like digest it and recall it. And you're right though, like in rehearsal, that's where all the the little stuff gets ironed out. And I think a lot of times drummers get nervous going into the rehearsal of like, oh my gosh, did I not prepare enough, or am I not perfect enough? And it's like, nobody really expects you to be perfect. They just want to know that you know the song and that you can play it like 90%, and that last 10% they'll adjust, especially because a lot of artists like to play the songs differently live anyway, than they do on the record or whatever it was that you learned. So, but MD, obviously music director, for those who are not maybe familiar with that. But what's that been like for you, working with music directors? And I think it's also interesting that a lot of drummers are typically music directors and vice versa.
Oh yeah, man. Like, recently I just did a gig with this artist named Aladio.
Okay.
Very huge in the Latin community. And the MD, he was so great, down to earth. His name is Jason, and he's part of 1500 or nothing. There we go. And yeah, he's part of that group, and he was just guiding me. Like, he was just telling me, like, okay, look, this is what you need to do. This is what you don't need to do right here. And you know what I'm saying? He was more so happy that I came in knowing the music, because we only had 2 days of rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so that within itself, like, just giving me grace and just being cool about it, and and figuring out the kinks was just, it was cool. It was really cool. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Jason. That's awesome though, because I think, so one of the things that I say about my brand channel, Arizona Drummer, is that we need to lead with professionalism, maturity, and grace. As a professional, you're gonna mess up. The important thing is you do your best, you forgive yourself, you move on, stay professional, keep going, right? That as you're working with a music director, especially because, just for those who aren't aware, the music director is really responsible for the show, like putting the show together, making sure the arrangements are in place, that the band knows what they need to be doing. And so preparation is key in order to come in and show that level of professionalism. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you wish you had prepared more?
Yeah, it's been like a couple of shows where I feel like, oh, okay, I could do this different. Like, I think this one show we had like a residency at the Blue Note with Tank and the Bangers or whatever, and we were still kind of just figuring it out, but the show didn't go bad. I just felt like I could have did a little bit more of this than what so I kind of fixed it as we was doing the residency. So,
which I think is all we can do. It's funny because there was an audition I did, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. The songs are easy. I got it. And then there I am in the audition. I'm like, oh, I did not prepare well enough for this. And it only takes one time. It only takes one time for you to make a mistake like that, and you're like, never again. I think that's what makes the professional, right? Is you recognize that, oh, I could have done more, should have done more. I'm going to fix this and make sure it never happens again. Speaking of shows, we talked about the 30,000 crowd when you were 15.
Yeah.
But, some of the wildest crowds I've ever had were, I played on the Navajo reservation to like 30 people, and it was probably the craziest crowd I've ever seen.
Hey, man,
so,
that's pumped.
Right?
You still get pumped from that, yeah.
That's right. So what is like the wildest crowd you've ever played in front of?
Man, the recent show I just did was, like I said, I was playing behind Aladio, and the crowd knew every lyric. It was 30 songs on the list. We only played 15, but they knew every song, and the energy that we was getting from them, it hyped us up. So they received the energy right back, and so we was just going back and forth with it. It's like an energy contest at that point. It's like, it was amazing. And then the fire, that was the first time I ever played with fire. That was kind of crazy. The way they timed it, like everything about that experience in Dominican Republic was memorable.
Yeah, I was watching some of the Instagram posts and videos, and I was like, you're having a freaking blast. But to your point, like, there's nothing better than that. I played a festival show a couple months ago. It was about 20,000 people, and it was just a fill-in. I was filling in for a band, and same kind of thing. Like, you just the energy. You're just like, oh, this feels great. And I did some Europe stuff last year. Same kind of smaller crowds, like 2,000 to 5,000, but same thing. Like just the energy that they put out there. All you want to do is just like explode because it feels so good. All right, so let's geek out a little bit. You know, for us drummers, we don't always get to use our own kits, or, you know, sometimes we have to rent a kit or borrow, whatever it is. But what's your current kit setup? And do you have any secret weapons that are in your kit that you think makes you, you know, successful? And I'm also curious if you do a hybrid setup with any, you know, triggering pads, anything like that.
Yeah, man. So my setup, you know, because it just changed recently, and I'm thinking about putting the second kick drum up. So I haven't.
Ooh.
I haven't really thought it. I haven't thought about it yet, but you know, still trying to figure that out. Yeah, I have 10, like 8, 10, 16, and then on my drums, my drum heads are all Remo, and then my 16 would be like a SMT.
Okay, so like the new, kind of like the EMAD equivalent for Remo with like the muffling. Got it.
Yeah, and that give it that little deepness that I want, and kind of like a gong feel.
Yeah.
It feels great, and so yeah, I like it like that. And then for my cymbals, Sabian Stratus cymbals feels like butter. Butter,
Dude, all these cymbals back here are Sabian, so same page.
butter. Splash, my complex, mini stack. I love a mini stack. Always good to have one of those. Quick attack. My snare would be my Tama Metalworks. Great snare. And I got a die cast with a hoop on it and give us that bite. The drums that I'll be playing on, that it be on these cover videos or whatever, my dad made them.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And what did he make them out of? Is it maple or?
Yeah, different wood types. Can't really call them because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
While I was a kid, so I always used to help him and stuff. And so that was pretty cool, like kind of like knowing how to fix drums and knowing how to paint them and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
I'm getting a little bit emotional because I can totally get that. You know, like my snare drum behind me has a badge for my mom on it for when she passed. So, you know, anything we can do to honor them the way that we can. And so that's pretty awesome that you do that. And it sounds like maybe live you're playing something different, but at home you've got this really special kit. And I'm sure live you're probably doing a lot of renting. I think I saw you on a DW kit, I want to say, and then maybe some others, but are you... Okay. Do you have like a Roland pad or a Lisa's pad, something that's kind of helping kind of create the hybrid feel?
Yeah, man. So I have a lot of triggers. I have probably like 4 or 5 PD8s, 1 BT1 bar, and I use my trigger module, which is my TM6.
And in those situations where you're, you know, getting the gig, you're gonna go play live, are you getting the samples from the MD? Are you downloading them yourself? Like, how are you kind of getting the samples for the gig?
I'll be creating sounds, little do people know, because I produce too. And so that I'll be producing on the low key, but that kind of help my ear, you know what I'm saying? To like, you know, just figure out sounds or create them or just find them. Like, I love finding sounds. It's pretty cool.
I've used some hybrid stuff in the past, but I just got the SPD-SX Pro, so I've been kind of messing around with that, trying that out. You know, you mentioned there was a time where you almost quit. What was that moment or that situation, the crossroads you hit, where you're like, I don't know if I can keep doing this? And then what was it in yourself that made you go, you know what? Yes, I got to push through this.
So what happened with me pushing through? I just seen everybody working. You know, at one point, I was just like, I'm just at home, just stuck. And that can be like the worst feeling in the world because you see your friends doing it and people that you'd be like, man, like, I never thought he'd do that. And, you know, I wish that was me, you know? And so I just was in this depression little state. And then I remember doing a live arrangement. And my live arrangements, was touching people in a way. You know what I'm saying? It was giving them like, oh my God, like this is really dope. Like to the point where it was pushing me to like keep going. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I was getting the support behind it, and so I was like, okay. So then I did another live arrangement, which happened to blow up, and it was the Tidal Water, and I did it. I want to say like a year ago, and maybe a year or two ago, maybe, and it blew up so much where I was like, okay, I gotta keep going. I gotta
Yeah.
just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like this is motivating to see people cover my stuff. Like to see them repost it, to see them react the way they reacting, and people telling me keep going, and then you getting motivational messages and stuff. So it's like all of that played its huge role into like me to just keep going. Like I gotta be doing something right. And before I knew it, like people started hitting me up to do gigs, a whole bunch, and I was just like, okay, this is working out. This is working out like I thought it would.
You put in the work, you put yourself out there. I'm a big fan of, if you put yourself out to the universe will reward you, and then you were open to learning, right? Because I think that's another crucial piece. The first step is getting the gig. Like, how do we get there? And the
Yeah.
second step is how do we keep it? Because it's easy to lose it once you have it if you don't have those skills, the professionalism, maturity, all those different things. So what's one lesson that you had to learn the hard way in our industry? I can think of several that I've had to learn.
Ooh, man. Business. The
Yeah.
business for sure, and saving money.
Yeah.
And them two is you gotta learn. Like you gotta learn the business side of stuff because you can get finessed. It's a lot of finessing out here, and it is not pretty. And also, saving is key because you can see that good old check that look nice, and then you be like, I want to buy everything. Like you don't want to do that, like because you just never know, like in a life situation, what could happen. You know?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, how many stories have we all heard about people getting famous or getting successful and then they just blow out all the money because they don't know how to be mature with it or whatever the case is. And to your point, not only could life throw a curveball your way, but you could lose the gig. We're all fortunate to be able to do this stuff, and you never know when it's going to stop or when it's going to blow up, right? Another one that I was thinking of too, and hopefully you'll agree with this, is you have to put yourself first sometimes.
Yeah.
And do what's best for you. So if a gig's not right, even if it looks really good on paper, sometimes you got to walk away. It's tough. It's really tough, especially because you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come. And, I think having the confidence in yourself, like you talked about a little bit, being able to know that in any situation we throw you back into the fire, you know what to do. Like you're going to be able to succeed. Obviously, you put yourself out there in live gigs, you're doing session work, you're on social media, but what do you hope that people take away from seeing you play the instrument?
You could overcome a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like you can be in this position if you really just keep going and be consistent, and a lot of people have this tendency to just give up because it's just not going their way. I've been there, you know what I'm saying? I've been there, and you just gotta keep going, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
that's the only way you're gonna just make it.
So what advice would you give to the young drummers that are out there coming up in their bedrooms, basements, their church gigs, whatever it is? What advice would you give them?
Man, advice to young drummers. Always take advice. Don't get mad at the advice because that's been happening a lot lately with young drummers. They get mad at the advice, and it might be the way it's the advice they receive is like how they talk. Like that
Yeah.
could be the way, but it's just like even if they express it the way they express it, they might be onto something. And so always listen to the advice that people give you because it can really help. It can really help in the long run.
To your point, if somebody cares enough about you to give you advice, whether it sucks to hear, there's probably some truth to it. And, the only way we can get better is if somebody tells us the things we're not doing well, or if we recognize it in ourselves. And so I think that's awesome. And if you could be remembered for one thing, anything beyond the awards, the Grammys, the future Grammys you're going to get, what would it be?
If I was to be just a good, genuine person, you know, a person that gave people hope when they didn't have it, and just kind of giving a voice to drummers, you know, and yeah, that's pretty much one of the things that I would definitely want to be remembered for, just being just this great person and nice and kind person to people.
So all right, we're gonna do a little rapid fire, couple just really quick questions. First thing that comes to your mind, and then I'll give you a chance to kind of just share what's going on in your world, anything you want people to pay attention to, and then I can link it down for you, and then we'll close up. But are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right, so first one, click or no click?
Ooh. Ooh. Click.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I get the appeal of without. Dream collab, any artist, any era, dead or alive?
Oh man, dream collab would be probably Michael Jackson. Great. He's a genius.
Yeah,
Genius.
absolutely. Man. God, how much fun that gig would be. Who is, in your opinion, the most slept-on drummer right now?
Justin Tyson. Justin Tyson is very slept on. Very slept on, but he's a great drummer.
Awesome. What do you think is the most overplayed fill?
Ooh. Most overplayed? I don't know. That one is pretty good. I know everybody do this feel that chop that Sticks and CJ does off the tom. Everybody does. So I think that is very much overplayed sometimes. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it works, but sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, you could tell like, oh yeah, you got that from Sticks or CJ. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, before we close up, I do want to give you an opportunity to share like what's going on in your world, what's new, what are some things we want to make sure that the people watching take away from this, so I can tag it for you. Again, new albums, new gigs, new sessions, whatever it is. The floor is yours.
Oh man, I am working on a new live arrangement, so that's something people want to look out for because I know I took some time off. I also in the works of collabing with Shared Tracks to drop a track with them.
There we go.
Well, drop my own track and then put it on the site. So that's also in the works. And yeah, I'm working on a lot right now. So I don't want to spill too much of the beans, but just know I'm gonna try to get some content out as soon as possible.
So what I'll do then is I will tag CJ in my bio here, so you'll see his Instagram, all of his socials, all the places you can go to check him out. Make sure you do that. He is a killer drummer. He's out there just doing the damn thing. So make sure that you follow him, subscribe, whatever it is, just support the guy. And what I'll say is, CJ, this has been incredible. Like seriously, your story is inspiring. Your playing is clearly next level. And I know people are going to get a ton from this, you know, out of this conversation, out of your story, out of what you shared with us. And, you know, I'm really excited for people to know more about you, to know more about what brought you to the instrument. And honestly, you know, what has inspired you to follow your dreams. I think that's the whole genesis of this interview series, is to help people see that if you put in the work, you work hard, you stay consistent, you're humble, open to feedback, you lead with grace and maturity, you can do anything you want to do. And I think you demonstrated that in this interview today. So I just want to say thank you again for the time. And I feel like I've made a new friend. Hell yeah. And my plan is, hopefully you're okay with this, but my plan is to dedicate this interview to your dad. Just because, again, you know, without him, without his love, support for you, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. And so I want to make sure I show him some love as well, and dedicate this one to him.
Yeah, please. That would mean so much.
Absolutely. See, I'm getting all teary-eyed again. So just to say once again, thank you, my friend. It's just been really great to talk to you.
Man, likewise, man. I really enjoyed this interview. I really did.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thanks, CJ, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
See you, man.
See ya.